Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or evening, depending where you are in the world, and welcome to this webinar on low carbon urbanization, sustainable solutions for the built environment value chain. I'm Yolanda Dos Santos. I'm Head of Production at Climate Action. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to welcome so many listeners to today's webinar. We have received over 450 registrations and a testament to the excellent speakers who are participating and sharing their thoughts and experiences on this important topic. Please be aware that this session is being recorded and a link will be emailed to you shortly after the webinar is complete, so you'll be able to listen to it again and share it with your peers. There may be a slight delay, about a fragment of a second. This is dependent on your internet connection, so please bear with us when we go through the slides. Before we start the webinar, I would like to give you some more information about the webinar organizer, Climate Action, and webinar partner, Dow. Climate Action have been working at the intersection of climate change policy, innovation, and sustainable finance for the last 12 years. Climate Action's goals is to accelerate the transition to a global green economy in order to achieve the aims of the Paris Agreement and align with the Sustainable Development Goals. Over the last 12 years, Climate Action have worked in formal partnerships with multiple UN agencies to create and deliver high-impact forums, digital events, and the climateaction.org online news platform. About Dow. Dow is world-leading materials science company. Its portfolio of performance materials, industrial intermediates, and plastics businesses delivers a broad range of differentiated science-based products and solutions for customers in high-growth segments such as packaging, infrastructure, and consumer care. Dow operates 113 manufacturing sites in 31 countries and employs approximately 37,000 people. Dow's ambition is to become the most innovative, customer-centric, inclusive, and sustainable materials science company. Together, we bring you to today's webinar on low-carbon urbanization, sustainable solutions for the built environment value chain. As global population grows, urban growth is unavoidable. Over the next 40 years, the world is expected to build 230 billion square meters in new construction. That's roughly equivalent to adding another Paris to the planet every single week. This rapid development directly correlates to more energy used and carbon dioxide emissions. And despite recent progress, buildings and construction together account for nearly 40% of energy-related carbon dioxide emissions when upstream power generation is included. The energy intensity per square meter of global building sector needs to decrease on average by 30% by 2030 compared to 2015 to be on track to meet global climate ambitions to set forth in the Paris Agreement. So, over the next hour, we will explore how to answer one fundamental question. How can we turn buildings, the second largest emitter of energy-related carbon dioxide by sector, into low-carbon models? So, I bring you to today, our panel. We feel extremely privileged to welcome 4 excellent speakers with significant experience to address this webinar topic. I would like to welcome Dr. Hirokazu Shibata, who is the Asia Pacific Technology and Sustainability Leader for Dow Olympic and Sports Solutions. Dr. Christine Bruckner, who is Director of MASA Associates and former President of the American Institute of Architects International Region. I'd also like to welcome Jing Wang, who's the North Asia Director of US Green Buildings Council and Green Business Certification. And last but not least, I would like to welcome Jean-Paul Hutekier. I apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly, who is the Global Strategic Marketing Director of Dow High Performance Buildings. Welcome all. I would like to give brief instructions on how to engage with our speakers during the webinar. Each speaker will take a few minutes to present their views, following which we will take questions from our listeners. You can submit your questions via Twitter, tweet at climateaction_, using the hashtag low carbon, or you can use the question box on the GoToWebinar bar to the right of your screen. Don't be shy. We will try to get through as many relevant questions as possible in the hour time frame. And now with that, I shall hand over to our very first speaker, Dr. Hirokazu Shibata. Dr. Hirokazu, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I'm handing over to you now. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Thanks, Yolanda, for the kind introduction. And good morning, good afternoon, and evening to all. My name is Hiro Shibata, Technology and Sustainability Lead for Asia Pacific within Dow, Olympic, and Sports Solutions. I'm based in Tokyo, Japan. It is my pleasure to contribute on behalf of Dow to this joint webinar with such a key influencers in the industry, to namely USGBC and AIA International Region. I would like to also thank Climate Action to bring all of us together here, including audiences. As the first speaker, I would like to set the stage of this webinar. So briefly introduce Dow and our unique carbon partnership with International Olympic Committee, and also my belief of how we could build a sustainable future together through partnership. Next slide, please. So as Yolanda briefly introduced about Dow, so I'll keep it very short. But we, Dow, we are a premier material science company with a strong portfolio of performance materials, industrial intermediates, and plastic businesses, and focusing on key segments such as packaging, infrastructure, and consumer care. High performance building is certainly one of the key areas for Dow, as well as in the Dow sustainability program with Olympic movement. Next slide, please. Dow's sustainability journey has evolved. Since 1995, we set 10 years goal on our footprint, improving operational efficiency so that our products footprint will be lowered. So over those 10 years, we have reduced our carbon footprint from our products more than 30%. Then we realized that we could do more through our products and the solutions in the use phase, which being called as handprint, the positive impacts of products. And action, such as improving energy efficiency in the building through better installation, is an example. We need to, of course, spend resource, material, and energy to produce the insulation materials. And it comes with price tag as well as certain footprint. Yet, by smartly implementing it, it can deliver tangible energy saving, which generates net positive impacts over years. This is an example of handprint through better products. As of 2015, in our next 10 years goal, we are shifting the gear to the blueprint. Footprint, handprint, then blueprint, recognizing that only through collaboration and joining forces with other partners, we could accelerate the progress toward a sustainable planet. Dow and the International Olympic Committee Carbon Partnership is an example of a blueprint framework that redefines and elevates the role of both business and the sport in the transition toward a low carbon society. Yeah, next slide, please. Dow has been a supplier of technologies for the games since 1980. We became a partner in 2010, and our solutions are used to help in staging of the games, improve the overall experience for athletes and spectators, and lower the impact on the environment in host cities and countries. In those pictures, there are also examples from London on the left below. We came up with innovative technology, reducing the environmental impact. Also, we've been partnering with IOC for their headquarter buildings, as well as we have been delivering some of the circularity project in other Olympic Games. And by doing this, say, delivering the solution in the games, we also soon realized that we could harness our sustainability expertise for the games through carbon by means of creating active and engaging programs with low carbon solutions outside of the games. We started this journey in 2013 as a carbon partner of Sochi 2014 and continued in Rio 2016. Building on the success of those collaborations, we are appointed as the official carbon partner of the International Olympic Committee in 2017 to bring the collaboration blueprint for carbon reductions beyond the Olympic Games and host cities. Actually, so what we do is that we plan and implement projects around the world and capture resultant carbon reductions to help balance the operational carbon footprint of the IOC, on the other word, Olympic movement, and creating a climate positive legacy from this partnership. Today, this program has developed into a global platform that is not only relevant for sport, but a DAO flagship program that demonstrates how states can contribute to advance the transition towards a lower carbon future. Next slide, please. Yolanda, next slide, please. Yeah, this is fun. As a carbon partner of games and now of the IOC, DAO is developing specific products in the built environment in through efficiency and packaging, in collaboration with customers and value chain partners in global markets. All the projects follow the DAO Climate Solution Framework, which was created by DAO scientists together with international carbon experts. All the projects implemented faced real or perceived barriers, demonstrating that what we do are beyond business as usual in those markets and led to high quality third-party verified greenhouse gas emission reductions. As of June 2018, the combined carbon mitigation programs with Sochi 2014 and Rio 2016 and the IOC have delivered 4.3 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, and we are working towards 6 million target by 2026. It is noteworthy that 3 million metric tons are actually delivered by 6 projects in building and construction. We have been doing this through lowering the embodied carbon of the construction materials, as well as through improving energy efficiency of buildings. Next slide, please. As an example, I'd like to illustrate a capacity building campaign in building and construction industry, which we held for Rio 2016. Bringing polyurethane foam core construction panels, so-called sandwich panel, in the commercial market of Brazil and Argentina, where this was not the typical building practice. We partner with our direct customers, as well as value chain players, and jointly organize the seminars and share our knowledge and best practices through the website to really share our joint thought leadership. This has also led to creating a positive legacy through education to the next generation. So we are using sport and Olympic brand to go beyond sports outside of the games and engaging and driving collaborative actions on one of the biggest issues for our society. Next slide, please. Thank you. Because buildings have an average lifespan of 40 years, the choice of materials in the design phase is particularly very important, as it can influence both the embodied carbon footprint of the building as well as energy efficiency and operational footprint throughout the building's lifespan. The construction value chain is quite local business and quite complex. It is the architects and engineers that specify the materials, setting standard, and the property owners to lead the way to really implement those. We need to work with different actors and influencers along this entire value chain and need to showcase solutions that meet local needs. We have been calling out the leaders to join this initiative. As of last year, started dialogues and collaborations with AIA International Region, so today represented by Christine, and USGBC, today represented by Jean, to jointly create momentum in this industry to accelerate the change, and more importantly, further seek partners to make it happen. So results are not just in the carbon, the legacy of the many conversations with our customers and partners. We need to really engage the entire value chain and the joint forces to make this happen. Next slide, please. So this is my last slide. I would like to just re-emphasize that so when it comes to climate change, we know that
Unmuted.
size matters. And it is only by working together we could make it happen. We need to jointly accelerate adoption of best-in-class solutions on a global scale and achieve the scale and the impact needed. Our new brand line. Sure.
Dr. Hiro, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Thank you. You've concluded your presentation, correct?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hirokazu, for your very interesting presentation. To our listeners, please remember you can submit your questions over Twitter or through the GoToWebinar question box. If you have any questions for Dr. Hirokazu or the upcoming speakers, please let us know. If we don't get your questions, we will go over them at the end of the presentation, at the end of the webinar. So I do have one question coming in for Dr. Hirokazu. Dr. Hirokazu, may I ask you this question? What are their initiatives currently being undertaken by Olympic Games organizers to reduce carbon emissions? And how does the Dow IOC carbon partnership fit in?
Yeah, sure. So each organizing committees has different strategy. One thing for sure is that our Sochi and Rio partnership raised the bar for the subsequent games. For instance, like now for Tokyo 2020, not just the organizing committee, but the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, actually led by governor, even changed the regulation and offers the organizing committee to leverage its credits from cap and trade system owned by Tokyo Metropolitan Government. And we have elevated our partnership to IOC, so it's a global level, and this is still linked, and we are complementary with the Olympic Games activity, so jointly raising the awareness of the importance of the challenge to the climate change, and we are leading the way to show how what business can do in this context.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Hirokazu. So I would like to now welcome our second presenter, Dr. Christine Bruckner. Dr. Christine, are you with us?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I'm handing over to you now, Christine. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me and for making time in your day to focus on how together we can make an impact on our shared sustainable future. Next slide. My name is Christine Bruckner. I am an architect and director with M. Moser Associates. I'm a past president of the American Institute of Architects, Hong Kong chapter, and of the international region. And basically, I have been working for decades with many of you, integrating sustainable design effectively in ways that both improve places for people and steward our shared planetary resource. Next slide. The main message here, as you can see, is to bring to the forefront. This is showing you what the slide shows the American Institute of Architects international region to show how we're working globally together. And I think that's a theme that you're going to hear as Hira shared and our other speakers will most likely share, that we want to work together around the world because climate change is an aspect that affects us all. And today, my aspect is to share with you what can architects really do. So next slide. By bringing to the forefront the architect's role in designing, advocating, and implementing best practices, which focus on human health, well-being, and stewardship of our shared global resources to transform our environment through greener, carbon reductive, and holistic design. Now, there are a lot of words in there, and you can see these images, but the concept is we're creating places for people, but how can we be doing that in a way that truly takes care of our planet, reduces our carbon? So next slide. One way that I really would like to emphasize is, as you can see here, even in our own offices at Moser, we work in teams. We work collaboratively together. And this is something that we really need to do beyond not only our own teams, but with everybody, the engineers, the architects, developers, industry experts, so that we can together have a hope for a very bright future. So how do we work together and what are our roles? So, and why is this important now? Next slide. You can see clearly right now what's going on, and I'm going to ask Yolanda to go through the next few slides relatively quickly. They're very simple, but the concept is if we don't work together right now, what world will our children and grandchildren have? It is absolutely essential that we take action together. And why is this? Because right now, next slide, we are running out of opportunities in terms of the things that are changing in our climate. And next slide. We all know that buildings use a majority of energy. And so as designers and builders of the environment around us, of the built environment, we are very, very responsible. Next slide. We're running out of space. We are running out of fuel. Just keep going through if you don't mind, Yolanda. We're running out of resources. And we're truly running out of clean air and aspects. And a concept that is really critical is that we are running out of space. There is no away. You cannot throw things away. We cannot put things away for later. We have one shared space. And the next slide that you just shared, the global burden of disease, shows us that we have created some aspects in our own world, our global community, that are very difficult, and they're actually getting worse. Non-communicable diseases are becoming huge issues, and these are absolutely affected by the way that we're building and by the climate and by many aspects that we as designers, architects, and builders of our communities can make a difference. So next slide is, what are we doing? And I think this is a beautiful one to go to right now because it ties together several of the speakers on the phone tonight and several of the opportunities we have. The American Institute of Architects is working directly with Dow and their partnership with the IOC to understand and create an award for design which truly shows sustainable consideration for the future. We've called this the Sustainable Future Award. And the very first year of this was 2018, and it was given to 4 projects. And the next 4 slides will share those projects with you so you can see. But what's really important to understand is that by all working together, we're looking at how we can improve and encourage architects and everybody in this industry to continue to go above and beyond. So the first project you'll see on the next slide is the Nordea Bank of Denmark. The following project is the UBC Aquatic Center in Canada. You'll see the next project is the Hong Kong Station, which is a transportation hub, and Kowloon Station. And the 4th project is actually an interior project for Ally Bernstein. And this is a project that Moser actually was involved in. So we can see it from many different perspectives. these designs are going above and beyond. So let's take this very small, simple project with a few more slides. The next slide here shows you how does this space work for people? What's going on in there? How does it create collaborative, human-centric workspace, places you want to be? And the next slide, again, shows you some of those ways of maximizing daylight, reducing our energy use, reducing a need for lift, but you saw there's a beautiful staircase, working towards LEED requirements. And then the next slides will share with you how, they're actually all of the small things that we can make decisions on every day to reduce our carbon footprint while we improve spaces for people. These are how we use LED lights, how we integrate our air quality, how we integrate energy-saving equipment. And the following slide, again, will continue to show you multiple ways that a small project like this can make a difference in people's lives and in our energy footprint. So what can we do? So what's the next slide? We have a key in the way that we design. But what is that key? What is the key to livable, sustainable future? We all share this skill. And as you go forward, I'll share a few architectural ways that we can do this. The first is through incorporating greenery and understanding the natural world so that we benefit from it. The next is again, next slide, is again with daylight. As we mentioned in some of these smaller projects, when we maximize daylight and we reduce the use of energy to light our spaces and maximize the health of the people within, we're also helping with the carbon impact. And if you continue to go forward, after greenery comes daylight, after daylight comes natural materials. These are the materials that you can get to very, very easily. These are the materials that the earth has provided. They're resources that we can use and reuse again. And they are very important in how we design. The next slide, I believe, is quite interesting because it's showing you that we can use renewable energy harvesting in the way that we design our building. If you look at this project, Titan, again, these projects are, and those are designed so that I'm familiar with them, can share them with you. This project has a collection of energy on the rooftops, but also by the way that it's designed, it cools itself through its use of natural greenery. It has cross ventilation, and people can enjoy indoor-outdoor spaces. They can walk throughout the space and minimize use of lifts and elevators. There are multiple strategies at an urban scale, community scale, that are working forward. I think there's another slide here. We'll show you a bit more about the project, which is a collaborative project. And just showing you different ways that you can integrate nature and really have a beautiful impact on creating communities for people that are also sustainable and working within nature. I think there's one more slide on this project. And we will go forward to, okay, there you can see the indoor-outdoor spaces. You can see the many different ways that lights are actually minimized. And in this case, a lot of areas which could have been air-conditioned have been left completely open. The entire area for the cafeterias, many different areas are not even air-conditioned. It's all ventilation. Through ventilation. So these are many small ways that we can make a difference. So let's go forward to our next project, because the next area that's really important to think of as architects and as we build in the environment, I'll go through these next ones rather quickly for you, but it's reusing buildings. Industrial buildings. The most sustainable thing we can do is to find the embodied energy in our cities. Embodied energy is in everything that has been built. It's the energy that it costs to create those materials. It's the energy that it costs to bring them to where they are, to put them together. All of that embodied energy, if you can reuse it, is the greatest way to reduce our use of new energy and new materials. And the next slide will show you that with just a slight addition here, we were able to upgrade an entire and this is some beautiful materials using an old building. And I believe the next slide will show you the interiors, which have been warmed up and become a Class A space for people out of a industrial warehouse. So this is one way that we can truly make a difference in the community. The next project coming is Tencent Guangzhou, Again, a series of old buildings which have come back to life. And you can go through the next 3 slides quickly. They talk about this project and show how we work through the old and the new. We retrofit what's existing, add to it, and do so in a sustainable way so that we're minimizing carbon footprint, maximizing what we save of embodied energy, and optimize daylight as well. The next project is one where we took partly existing buildings and add to them in a way that serves the entire city. So that's the Lenovo project. The building you're looking at right there is under construction, and that's a new building. But it's built directly next to an existing building, which is going to be completely revamped and kept, and create a campus around it, which is phased and open to the public. So that connectivity, it's connected and it's directly part of the rail line. It's connecting the whole city together. If you show the next slide, it will show an urban space, which is open to the public. And it will then show you the way that the city creates. And I'm not sure you can see these spaces here. Integrating, cooling the space naturally through greenery, opening the whole bottom layer so that natural air is moving through, and reusing the existing buildings as much as possible, but bringing them into the best that they can be. 2 more typologies that are important to think about. The next slide is about schools. And we'll go to the next slide, actually. About WAB school here, we'll show you a net zero building. How do we do that? We're working with green walls, we're working with PVs, we're working with low U value glass, all kinds of materials and solutions. Every decision matters, and every decision can help you reduce your carbon impact. The next series of slides will talk to you about 2 campuses. So the first one is New Skin, which is a completely LEED Gold campus. And the next slides are actually about hospitals. Hospitals use a great deal of energy, and they're very important to our health of our communities and our people. So utilizing natural materials, finding ways to use energy efficiency through hospitals as well is a very important way to improve our carbon footprint. So you can flip through the next 2 slides of this project, and then I'll show you an interior 18-floor headquarters for a financial center in Hong Kong, which is not only a LEED Platinum project, the next slide, but it's also the first WELL-certified project in Hong Kong. And this kind of a benchmark is critical because WELL is, again, taking care of human sustainability with many aspects of carbon reduction, as well as making sure that we're saving energy in everything we do. And if you look at the next slide, you can see some beautiful views, lots of openness, lots of movement, integration of staircases, and integration of a lot of areas for people. So the last 2 projects I'll share with you are actually our own offices, one in Hong Kong and one in New York. These are living labs, and I would hope that all architects, if you're listening, and all of you will use your own spaces as a living lab to test out and push the limits to aim for the most sustainable aspects you can. In this project, we're going not only for LEED and Reset and WELL, but also for BEAM, which is the local energy efficiency aspect, and meeting as many of these concepts as we can. If you go to the next slide, you can see how that actually really impacts our people physically. There's movement, there's greenery, there's daylight. Any way that we could reserve and reuse and preserve, we have incorporated. And the final project here is a project that's in New York, where we're in a building that was built in 1910. This is a skyscraper, the Woolworth Tower. It's a beautiful old building. And in this old building, we're showing that you can build a platinum design for people that is flexible and versatile, with reused materials, with minimal energy use, all within an older building. And then you're still embodying the character of that building. So the final slide is, let's work together. We really can make an impact with every decision that we make as architects, as users, as developers. Let's work together towards a shared, sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine, for that, for sharing your expertise. Indeed, it was very insightful presentation. Thank you. Again, to our listeners, please remember you can submit your questions on the sidebar or via Twitter. So please send them through. We will be asking our speakers live at the end of the webinar, if not after their presentations. So please come and share your knowledge as well and your questions to these lovely, great speakers. All right, so Christine, I have one question for you before we move on to the next presentation. And the question that's coming in is, why is it critical that we address sustainability in architectural design now more than ever?
Thank you for that question. It's very critical that we address these issues now, and that's why I shared those first slides in the beginning, sharing what's happening into our world right now in terms of running out of space, energy, fuel, resources, and the warming of our climate. If we take these decisions now, if we work together right now, urgently, with every decision that we make, we can truly save and create a sustainable future. But if we do not change the way that we're working, if we're not creating net positive structures, you know, we risk using up the resources and not leaving the world to our children and grandchildren that we really hope to leave. So let's definitely make an effort to work together, and let's do it now. It's very urgent. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Just another quick question from one of the listeners. Are there any challenges to using the low carbon solutions that you showed on one slide? Do they turn out to be at a higher cost?
That's a great question. Thank you. Very often, if you incorporate these things at the very beginning of a project and you bring everybody together, all of the stakeholders, the engineers, the construction, the owners, the architects, there is no reason for any of these methodologies to cost more. They're just building smart, building well, reusing what's possible, optimizing what's available.
Great, thank you. Great answer. Thank you so much, Christine. We will come back to you with more questions towards the end of the webinar, so stay with us. I'm going to move on to our next presenter, and I would like to now welcome our third presenter, Jing Wang. Jing, are you on the line with us? Are you there, Jing?
Yes, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm handing over to you now. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure, thank you, Lolinda. Hi, everyone. I'm Jing Wang, and I'm from US Green Building Council. I'm joining the webinar today from Shanghai, China. As we are virtually gathering here for the same purpose of advancing no-carbon urbanization, I feel really excited to be part of the agenda from the perspective of building standards. I attended a conference a few weeks ago in Shenzhen, China. Well, if you have any knowledge of Shenzhen, it's a hub of the Great Bay Area in China. The city has been topping the list of global tall building completion 3 years in a row. It's now with about 25 million population, and the city also proudly houses the headquarters of technology tycoons like Huawei and Tencent. But can you imagine if we just go back in time a little bit, 40 years ago, in 1979, when our government just decided to open the city up as an experimental economic zone, Shenzhen was nothing more than a fishing village with only 20,000 population. So as you can see here, the story of urbanization always reflects the trend of building development. Next one, please. Yes, here. As we're here today, we are already passing the wide stage of saving the planet through more sustainable buildings. The building sector has the largest potential of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and contributing to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The question here is how? Next slide, please. So this was the reason when US Green Building Council was founded in 1993 with a mission to promote sustainability-focused practice in the building and construction industry. We brought together the industry leaders across the value chain, such as leading companies and organizations like Dow and American Institute of Architects, to look at the solutions of better and greener buildings. Next slide, please. So we later invented LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, which is now today the most widely used green building standards. Next slide, please. We're now in 167 countries. About 2.4 million square feet space is certified every day, which roughly equals to the space of one Empire State Building in New York. And for the record, Empire State Building also got its LEED certification after its renovation in 2009. Next slide, please. So since 2016, LEED went beyond buildings, taking what we know best to a larger scale. Washington, D.C. was the first city achieved LEED certification at a platinum level, and our latest certified city is Dubai. And to date, we have more than 90 cities that have been certified. Next slide, please. So China is now the largest market for LEED outside of US, including Hong Kong and Taiwan. We actually have over 4,000 projects in the region. And for the LEED for Cities programs we just mentioned, last year the economic zone surrounding our capital's new airport has been pre-certified as the first LEED for City plan and design globally. So when evaluating the performance of existing cities, LEED is now actively involved in smart cities development in emerging economies like China and India. Next one, please. But is this the ultimate solution of a sustainable future? Or put it in another word, can this be solely achieved through sustainable materials, design, and maintenance? On October 8th last year, United Nations IPCC released the report that the temperature of global warming should rise no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. Sorry, we should go to the next slide. So to achieve that 1.5 degree goal, it requires tremendous efforts from sectors including buildings, transportations, infrastructures, etc. Coincidentally, on the same day, Nobel Prize in Economics 2018 was awarded to William Nordhaus for his works integrating climate change into long-run macroeconomic analysis. The award proved the correlation between the wellness of economy and climate change. It is also the first time an economist has been recognized in Nobel Prize because of his proposed solution of climate change. So you see, saving the planet is not only one man's job. In buildings, it's not just the jobs of architects, property managers, or material providers who contribute to a sustainable built environment. Ultimately, we need building owners and investors willing to pay for better and green buildings. And ultimately, we need owners and investors willing to put green assets on top of their agenda out of their corporate social responsibility, the regulatory requirements, and the public influence, etc. Next slide, please. Luckily, the sustainable development, sustainable buildings, and sustainable investment have never been isolating topics. Here are some milestones you can see on these slides. On 1987, the report of our Common Future by World Council of Environmental Development formally outlined sustainable development, drawing the framework of people, planet, and profit. And in 1993, the first Green Building Council, USGBC, was founded and the Global Green Building Movement was born. And in 1995, RobecoSAM was launched. You might not be familiar with the name of RobecoSAM, but you must know Dow Jones Sustainability Index. RobecoSAM was actually the underlying assessment for Dow Jones Sustainability Index. And later in 1999, Dow Jones Sustainability Index was launched, and today we have about 2,500 issuers were invited to this Dow Jones Sustainability Index benchmarking every year. And also in 2005, the then UN Secretary General Kofi Annan invited a group of world's largest institutional investors to draft Principles for Responsible Investment, which was soon launched in 2009 at the New York Exchange. Since then, the number of signatories has grown from 100 to over 2,300, representing over 80 trillion US dollar asset under management. While the slides show a couple of mainstream benchmarking in ESG investment, I do want to highlight a particular one which is highly relevant to our topic today. Next one, please. Yeah, actually, Yolanda, if you can help me flip through the next 3 slides as I speak, that would be grateful. So GRESB, Global Real Estate Sustainability Benchmarking, was founded in 2007 in Netherlands to assess sustainability performance of real estate and infrastructure assets. Over 90 institutional investors members representing 22 trillion US dollar institutional capital are using GRESB as a tool to enhance and protect shareholder values. On this slide, you might find some very familiar names like AEW, ING, UBS, etc. And in 2018, over 900 real estate funds and developers participated in the assessment, representing close to 8,000 real estate assets. And next slide, please. So to summarize, I hope this chart here can better illustrate the correlationship of sustainable investment and sustainable buildings. While the capital flows from the top to the bottom, the improvement of the built environment will start from the bottom. While the reputable standards like LEED communicate value, there are benchmarking tools available at each level to enhance the transparency of this ecosystem. And together, we build up a sustainable built environment for everyone. So next slide, please. So this comes to the end of the presentation today, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank Climate Action and Dow for organizing this seminar. I guess today's topic is really timely. Only sectors across the value chain work together: architects, material providers and innovators, standards, building owners, engineers, investors. We can then advance the global movement. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jing, for your very interesting presentation. We're going to move on to the questions. To our listeners, please remember you can submit your questions over Twitter or through the GoToWebinar question box on your right-hand side of your screen. If you have any questions for Jing or the upcoming speakers, please let us know. If we don't get to your questions, we'll go over them at the end of the presentation. Otherwise, we will email you the answers if we don't get to all of them. So, Jing, before you go, I have one question that's come in from one of the listeners, and the question is, it's interesting to hear that the Empire building is LEED certified. what are some of the challenges for existing buildings to become more carbon light in their operations?
That's a really good question. Existing buildings is really a big part of our LEED platform. However, I guess till now, only about 20% of our overall LEED projects globally are LEED certified as LEED existing buildings. I guess the challenge is really for the developers. They really have to keep in track their energy performance, their waste management, but that's really the big part of the challenge we are having every day, the challenges in operations. So I guess together we really have to raise awareness to the developers and also to the investors. I guess what we just talked about now, the sustainable investment and the ESG reporting will really play a big role to encourage the developers and the investors of these existing buildings to really commit to get LEED certified.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Jing. Please stay with us on the line. At the end of the webinar, we will have more questions for you. Thank you so much, Jing. Thank you to all the listeners for staying with us this far as well. So thank you. I now bring you to our last but not least. I would like to welcome our fourth presenter, Jean-Paul Hotekier. Jean-Paul, are you with us? Just bear with me a moment. Are you with us, Jean-Paul?
Yes, I am.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm handing over to you. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. So my name is Jean-Paul Hotekier. I'm the marketing director at Dow in charge of high performance building. I'm a Belgian citizen living in Switzerland and currently calling from Mumbai. And if you go to the next slide, yes, I would like to complement the previous speaker with a slightly different perspective and would like to provide a business perspective to the topic of sustainable buildings. Indeed, I'm convinced that society will be able to accelerate adoption of more sustainable technology only if we find a stronger economic driver. And sometimes those economic drivers needs to be ignited by initiatives. So again, let me provide this business opinion on the Dow IOC carbon program, which I believe is a strong initiative to motivate better technology adoption in buildings. If you go to the next slide, you basically can see that at Dow, we design and developed high-performance building solutions with the mission in mind to address the needs of well-designed, energy-efficient, safe, and sustainable buildings. So at Dow, we are not selling glass, aluminum frame, nor windows or curtain wall, but we supply silicones, that is the connecting bonding technology that structurally bond, weatherproof, and protect those facades. So while our material is used in a very small amount, it plays a crucial role in the total performance of those building envelope. Without it, those facades could rapidly undergo air and water leakages that would ruin the investment made in those high-performance building envelope systems. So in that context, we can also directly influence the value chain that design and fabricate those facades, which are our clients, in the selection of high-performance technology that optimize the performance and carbon footprint ratio, of course, on top of proposing our own technology. So if you go to the next slide, you can see that, yes, we have been doing this since more than 5 decades. You can see an example of the building that we have been involved with. Our technologies allow the architects, and we have seen a couple of examples before, to change and impact the city skyline, driving the evolution of urbanization. So our technology is very, very proven. Our first buildings are over 50 years now, and the silicon protection continue to provide the job on which they have been designed for. So we're actually providing very, very durable, which means sustainable in that aspect, technology. If you go to the next slide, high performance building for us, it's not only about energy, but it requires to take a holistic view of the requirements. You can see some of them on the slide. So, and again, our technology are being designed and demonstrated to performance in all the climatic conditions of this world and the diversity of it. So it's come from super tall skyscrapers to very small buildings up to, contributing to the weather station in the South Pole. And if you go to the next slide, I will go quickly through giving you a few examples on where we can contribute. This one is showing us the latest development in the field of insulating glass adhesives. We are commercializing what we call the high modulus sealants, which actually allow the design engineers to reduce the quantity of glue needed in the assembly of those insulating glass units. It's up to 30%, reducing the material footprint, but also the thermal loss while improving the aesthetics. We just recently developed what we call the first warm edge silicone adhesives, which has a lower thermal conductivity, which will improve the facade U value up to 5% and reduce the risk of condensation in the frame. Again, from a large commercial glazing projects in a typical cold climate, this improvement can mean 20 tons of CO2 saved every year. So with our technology, we can reduce the CO2, but also, as I said earlier, we can influence our clients to do so with the type of glazing technology they use. On the next slide, you will see an example of what we call for non-glass facades and rain screen. We are proposing panel cladding. So this is adhesives to clad and bond those non-glass facades systems. By bonding, we can basically replace the bolts, so we reduce the thermal bridges, but we also can reduce the material usages, the thickness, the weight, and the overall thermal footprint of material, which means better thermal insulations. On the next slide, it's about the topic on transparency. So this, again, we are seeing this topic of transparency, neutrality, increasingly favored by architects. So basically here we have developed a range of optically clear structural capable adhesives, which allows company to come with that type of innovative glass structure. So this one is an example of a newly launched, what we call 3D glass systems by the company Press Glass out of Poland. So this technology allows point fixing system without the need for drilling into the glass, therefore enhancing the performance and durability of the gas-filled IG. Those type of technology in the future will also be suitable for what they call vacuum insulating glass, which is again allowing a much better thermal performance of glass system. On the next slide, basically it's about to say, and that has been underlined here, collaboration is not a buzzword at Dow. We have what we call the project management systems for high performance building, which allow us to safely process approximately 6,000 projects every year, from design assistance to quality control and eventually giving a warranty. We also take an active role in educating our customer employee on the best practice of what pertains to silicone technology. And that ends up to my last two slides, which is about this Dow IOC carbon partnership. If you can go to the next slide. So again, in that context of what I just underlined, which is the business opinion, the partnership of Dow and the IOC on carbon mitigation is a great opportunity for our business. And the initiative launched to unlock carbon reduction in the built environments together with the IAI, International and US GBC, is, I believe, a fantastic example of collaboration that ignite changes. And not only the changes of the technology that we have proposed as Dow, but also influencing our direct customers and indirect partners in the value chains. So our focus is on the built environments and on facades, insulation of high-rise building, as we have seen, alongside other applications that drives building performance beyond code minimum. So we aim to demonstrate the benefit of state-of-the-art construction and material to reduce embedded and operational greenhouse gas emission. Our goal here with that partnership is to achieve a minimum of 50,000 tons of CO2 through collaboration with our customers and the two organizations that I just mentioned. And on the next slide, as it has been mentioned earlier, we have announced a collaboration with the American Institute of Architects to help advance the implementation of sustainable solutions through this Sustainable Future Award, sponsored by our company until 2020. We have also announced the Carbon Challenge together with USGBC. So that means that infrastructure owners of design that are constructed will potentially be offered the opportunity to contribute to a carbon saving to the carbon partnership between Dow and the International Olympic Committee. So, and I want to finish my talk by, from a business point of view, I think this is really creating a virtuous cycle that I can say, where the economic factor can be ignited for companies for further developing and promote state-of-the-art construction techniques. So for me, it's a triple win for the society's initiative, accelerate the adoption of new technology, while reducing the carbon footprint. For the customers, they can enhance their brand and reputation, as well as knowing more about the future carbon market and the technologies. And for us as a business, we not only increase our customer experience, but also accelerate the adoption of our innovation portfolio, as well as collaborate in the value chain. So, as I said while beginning this short presentation, I believe that fast progress on such important topic will always be more successful when we can integrate economic and business driver to the companies involved on this collaborative program. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I'm looking forward for questions if you have.
Thank you, Jean-Paul, for sharing an insightful presentation with us. We have one question coming in for you, Jean-Paul. If you can briefly answer it, it would be fantastic. And the question is, what will be the impact of the new Dow on the program and the ability to rally resources and support for the carbon program?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So as a new Dow, we want to be a leading, innovative, inclusive material company in the world. And that kind of program is exactly what we need. We are working with the big, better brand of this world to help those guys in their problem. And again, coming with a program like this, we can totally change the type of relationship we have with our customers, because we are helping them basically lowering their footprints independently on the type of business they are in. So the couple of examples that are being using is specifically for the built environments. But again, as a material science company, we do have businesses with basically all industry of this world. And we do have this program available for those guys as well.
Okay, fantastic. I do have one more question that has come in as well that I think would be quite interesting for all the listeners to also hear the answer. How do we get involved in the program, in this program that you speak of, and who do we contact in order to be part of it? Jean-Paul, are you still with us?
Yes, so the Christine and Jing would be the lead people from IAC International and USGBC to be able to reach out so that you guys understand how you can submit your projects, either for the Sustainability Future Award as well as the Carbon Challenge. So guys, contact us and we'll give you the contact needed for you to propose your projects.
Okay.
Yes, and yeah, this is Shibata, so if I may add, so that for our carbon projects, that the built environment is one of the key projects, and we are seeking partners. As well, we have other projects based on other technology in, for instance, packaging and industrial project as well. So we are really seeking who would like to be differentiated in this context of sustainability, and would like to support us as in a bigger sense, the Olympic movement. So please contact us if you're interested on built environment or any other projects.
Great, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your answers. Thank you to our 4 speakers for taking the time to share valuable insights with us. I will have one more question for each of the speakers in order to conclude the webinar for today. I ask each speaker to please keep it to 1 minute maximum each, because we have run shortly out of time. So I will start with Dr. Hiro. One question for you. How important is the creation of partnerships in addressing global issues, and in particular carbon reduction?
Yes, I think all 4 of us illustrated the importance of the partnership, because built environment, this is so complex. And many global projects, but actually what's happening is very local. So any single player in any stage cannot really make and implement a change. So not only value chain engagement, but actually sharing the best practices all over the world, and really this blueprint concept is the only way that we can tackle to make this a local actual solutions, one building, and making this known, expose it using, for instance, Olympic brand, this program. And this is the only way that I think we can accelerate the change. So this is why we really believe that the partnership is the must. It's not a choice, but we need to really work together to change the game.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hirokazu. Christine, I have a question for you, if I may. What are some ways that the American Institute of Architects International Region is raising awareness for the importance within the profession and the industry for the importance of carbon reduction through design?
Thank you. There are many ways that the AIA is working to raise awareness with all partners. One of them, as we mentioned, is this new Sustainable Future Award with Dow and the IRC partnership. Another one is the signing of a memorandum of commitment, which has all of our presidents and of the international chapters, as well as our colleagues in Arc Asia and throughout the globe, who saying that they work together, that every decision we make needs to be considered regarding the sustainable impact. And this is something that we really need to continue to work together. And as we sign our name to these memorandums, as we get excited for these new sustainable opportunities and awards and recognitions, it shows our colleagues where the priorities are and where we can go forward. And it reminds everybody, I hope, that whether you're designing, building, selecting, you have an impact that you can make, and that our choices really do matter, because we're truly shaping our built environment together. And let's prioritize decisions based on carbon, long-term, embodied energy, sustainability, planetary impact, and people. This is the way forward.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Christine. Thanks so much. Totally agree. Jing Wang, I've got one more question for you. What is the difference between LEED cities and LEED buildings?
Well, good questions. For LEED buildings, we evaluate metrics across 5 areas, like we mentioned just now: energy, water, waste management, transportation, and human experience. For city and communities, beyond the metrics we just mentioned, we're using in buildings, we have embedded important metrics in social aspect. For example, crime rate, access to education for everyone, employment rate. So in another word, it's just all about quality of life for everyone, and also it's data-based. Because LEED buildings has gone through over 20 years evolution, and in the latest version, we are now able to embed data-based methodology and through our data platform, which is called ARC. And cities and communities from the very beginning of its development are required to upload data to our ARC platform, and they will be benchmarked with other leading cities that sign up in the same program. And we believe that only those that can be measured can be managed and improved. Yeah.
Thank you, Jing, so much for your answer. The last question is for Jean-Paul. Jean-Paul, you still with us?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The question is, what changed the carbon mitigation program within Dow has changed your relationship with your customers? What impacts it had on your commercial teams?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Suddenly we are becoming a catalyst for something much bigger, right? So this collaborative program between who design the buildings and who will execute the buildings is changing the way our relationship we have with our customers. So for our commercial sales force, for instance, yes, they do, and they come in front of our customers, of course, still promoting the solution that Dow has, but by proposing something bigger, which is this collaborating program and the possibility that our customers now can be involved for this good cause, it's actually a great, totally different value add in the relationship that we can build with the value chain. So, and this is why I was referring to this virtuous cycle, is that for me it's when the economic driver will be aligned with the society and what the build design team want to do, this is where the changes will be accelerated. And I think hopefully the people has understood that, yeah, it's a kind of a unique program here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all speakers for your time, and also to our listeners for staying with us throughout the duration of the full webinar. That concludes our webinar. And a special thank you to our webinar partner, Dow, for supporting the webinar today in exchanging valuable expertise to transition towards a zero carbon economy. Thank you very much to our 4 excellent speakers, Dr. Hirokazu, Dr. Christine, Jing, and Jean-Paul. Thank you to all the attendees once again. On that note, we will email you all a link with the webinar recording shortly, as well as we will share the contacts for our to engage with all the initiatives and programs directly on that email that you will receive once the webinar is concluded. Apologies if we have not gotten around to answering all the proposed questions live. We will be able to share your proposed questions with the speakers and the webinar partner Dow, and we will email you the answers directly. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this webinar today. Have a fantastic day ahead. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.